Two halves to the retirement decision, and this module only owns one of them. I'll teach you which vehicle to use. I will not tell you what to invest inside it. That's a fiduciary's job, and I'm not your fiduciary. Before any vehicle gets named, the gap gets named, because the gap is the reason vehicle selection matters, and most coaches I've talked to are sitting on top of one without knowing it. Half one is the container: solo 401k, SEP, IRA, HSA. Half two is what goes inside the container: funds, allocations, the actual investment decision. The line between them is regulated, not stylistic, and Module 3.1.2 named it 11 modules ago. Every retirement question you can think of falls on one side of that line or the other. Keep the line clean. By the end of Unit 10, you'll know exactly which questions belong on which side. The gap is structurally bigger for self-employed coaches than for W-2 workers, and the first reason is the autopilot they don't have. W-2 retirement saving happens before you see the money. The deduction comes off the paycheck. The contribution lands in a 401k. You never had to feel the dollar leaving. Self-employed retirement saving requires manual intent every single time. The money has to be wired by you on your discipline with no autopilot. That's the first piece of the gap. 4 structural disadvantages stack up against the self-employed coach. No auto-deduct, which you already heard. No employer match. That 3 to 6% your former corporate employer was dropping in for free. On a $90K salary, that's $2,700 to $5,400 annually you're now expected to fund both halves of. Later starts, because most coaches enter this work mid-career, and irregular income, which punishes any vehicle with mandatory minimum contributions. Each disadvantage maps to a vehicle design choice covered in this module. The catch-up math is unforgiving. $1 saved at 30 grows for 35 years before retirement. $1 saved at 50 grows for 15. The same dollar, half the time, produces a fraction of the balance. If you started saving a decade later than the W-2 cohort, you don't get to make it up by saving the same dollar amount. You have to save meaningfully more. Secure 2.0's super catch-up at ages 60-63 exists for exactly this cohort. Module 13.2 covers the number. Let me put a name on the pattern. Rachel is a composite. Pieces of 4 or 5 coaches I've talked to in the last 2 years. 12 years as a corporate consultant. Rolled $185,000 to a traditional IRA when she left at 41. Years 1 and 2 of coaching, she contributed 0. Cash flow felt unstable. She told herself she'd start once it stabilized. Year 3 at age 44, she opened a solo 401k. The 2 years she contributed nothing, she could have sheltered roughly $140,000 of net SE income from federal income tax. She sheltered nothing. Do the work for your own situation before you move on. Open the retirement saving rate self-check from the resources. Pull last year's net SE income and any retirement contribution you made. Divide. If you've never contributed, skip the rate and compute instead the dollar amount you could have sheltered last year in the highest contribution vehicle you qualified for. Solo 401k if you were eligible, SEP-IRA otherwise. That dollar number is the size of the gap this module addresses, and it's specifically what 13.2 starts solving.